Hello, hello. So I decided to do a video series covering some of the projects that I've worked on over the last 25 years. It's hard to put all of this stuff in a resume or even on a website portfolio because it gets to be so crowded. So I thought I'd do this video series. And the first one I'm going to talk about is this one, which is super fun. So it's called The Night on the Big Island. So every year when I worked at Eller Publishing Group, we would do it's called the Top 100 program. It was for the top 100 boat dealers in the country. And we would have a big conference beforehand. And then at the very end, we would end it with this big celebration, black tie affair. And we'd come up with a theme every year, and the theme was different. And then every year I would come up with invites, programs, thank you cards that would go on the tables. So in 2012, we had a night on the Big Island. So we decided to do a Hawaiian theme. During our conversations, big roundtable conversations with like 10 people, we had to figure out if we wanted to do real authentic Hawaiian or kind of more the kitschy, touristy Hawaiian. And we decided to go with the more touristy, kitschy, just to make it fun and lighthearted and everything. So that's kind of how this came about. I would always do a ton of research whenever I would do any of these projects. So once we would come up with a theme, then we had to come up with the name. So sure, we came up with the theme Hawaiian, but then we had to come up with what it was actually going to be called. So we'd go through a bunch of renditions and everyone would vote. And then we came up with a night on the Big Island. So from there, I go through and I pick the fonts that I want to use, the little graphics I want to use. And if there's a little graphic within the logo, then I can use it throughout the design. So it's a nice supportive design element. And then that font is super fun and can also be repeated throughout all of the designs. So for this one in particular, it became Night on the Big Island with the tiki guy. That was the main kind of theme visual for the event. From there, the first thing I do is I come up with the invite design. So the invite design, I would have a very minimal budget. I don't know what it was off the top of my head, but I know it was very, very small. And I would work with a company called Carlson Print Group. And I'll actually put some of the information in the description of this so you guys will have it. And we would go back and forth. I would have an idea and it would usually be a little bit crazy. And I'd call up Joe, and he would help me. And I'd say, okay, here's my crazy idea. How can I afford it? And so then we would talk through it. I'd show him samples. I'd draw things out. We'd go back and forth on email or over on the phone. And then we'd finally come to what I wanted and what I could afford, because that's super important with any project. So then I came up with this. So this was the actual invite for the event. And I wanted it to be able to pop open. So in order to do this, I really just took a piece of paper and mocked it up. Every time I work on anything, I take a blank piece of paper and I mock it up and draw it out to see if it's going to work. So for this one, I got the main design on the front, and then all the information is right here. So here's the invite. There doesn't need to be a ton of information because this is just the invite. Everyone knows what to expect by now. It's when it's going to be, where it's going to be, black tie required. And then there was also a RSVP card that was in it, so they would send that back. And then I wanted to have directions. So with this was actually sent in a bubble mailer. And then we also sent this little battery operated tiki light. And so on the side here, it tells you exactly what to do, because you have to assume no one's going to know what you want them to do. You have to make it very clear with every project. So gave little directions. Your top 100 invitation doubles as a tiki lantern. So just, again, wanted it to be super fun, something they could use and keep on their desk. So we included the light. They just put it in there. And then these are die cuts. I don't know how well you can see there. So there's die cuts. And so when the light's out and the tiki light's in there, it lights it up. And here's what it looked like with the candle in there. Unfortunately, I could not find a working battery operated tea light. So I used a real candle. Do not try this at home, kids. So super fun. I had a blast with this one. I did also have to go to the post office and check on regulations and make sure it wasn't going to cost us more money to send it out. We also had invites going to Canada, so I had to look up all that information. So there's a ton of research that goes into all of these projects. From there, then it was the program, and it's a pretty large program. And these sit on the big round table at the event, because there was a dinner, and then there was entertainment, and then there was a dance afterwards. And of course, the awards gala throughout. And I wanted it to kind of be a really showcase piece, just super fun with the tiki guy on there. It has the date on there. And then again, it's kind of a dark lit room. And the demographics of the top 100 are a little bit older. So I wanted to respect that and make sure it was easy to read. That's why it is in that large format. And then it has kind of the intro, the timeline of how the events were going to go. And I wanted the like cutesy little dancer Hawaiian girl that would be, you know, that you see on vehicles sometimes when they're dancing. So again, I was going real kitschy and cute and fun. And then the list of winners was always on the backside, which again, with a bigger format, makes it nice and easy to read. So I always wanted to make sure it was easy to read and everyone would have, and of course, had to give the sponsors their due, always on the white background as much as possible, because there's a lot of regulations with brands and colors and cutting things out. So whenever possible, I usually try to put on that white background to give the sponsors their due respect. And so then I also had the thank you card. So then this was the thank you card that went on the table. Again, this is the Top 100 logo, and that is a logo that I also came up with. So I designed that logo and this logo. And then on the backside, so these are the sponsor logos. I don't have anything to do with those except for that Leadership Alliance logo. And this is just thanking the sponsors. So this goes on the table at the event. So every single piece is cohesive, following the brand, and super fun. So there we go. That's my first one. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.